Hello. I am Marvin Ludwig, Fraternal Secretary to the YMCA of Ethiopia, working under the auspices of the International Committee, a part of your World Service program. On behalf of the Ethiopian YMCA, its Board of Managers, staff, and committees, and membership, I would like to thank all of those and all of you who are assisting in the work and program of the Ethiopian YMCA through your interest and your support. Ethiopia is a country located on the far east coast of Africa. The borders of Ethiopia touch the Red Sea and the Somalilands to the east, the Sudan to the north and the west, and Kenya to the south. In this country, the people relate their origin to the Semitic and Hamitic peoples. The country has a monarchical form of government, and the people themselves are appreciating a Christian country. Approximately 50% or to 55% of the people in Ethiopia are Christians. The work of the YMCA was begun in 1949 at the request of His Imperial Majesty Haile Selassie I, who has been Emperor of Ethiopia since the year 1930. Following a study and a survey made by the International Committee by Mr. Harold Dennison, Merlin Bishop was appointed to go to Ethiopia in 1951 as the first fraternal secretary from North America. Merlin did a great job in putting the Ethiopian YMCA on the map. The foundations which were established during his time have assisted in the continuing growth of our YMCA. I would like to, in this report, relate to the happenings and the growth of the YMCA during the past 3 years. Our greatest advance has been in the area of provincial development, that is, the building and development of new YMCAs around the country. There are now basically 3 types of YMCAs in Ethiopia: city associations, student associations, and rural YMCAs. Associations have been opened in the cities of Asmara, Bahar Dar, Debre Birhan, Adwa, and an additional association in the city of Addis Ababa. This sort of association expansion has been made possible partly because of the growth and the additional finances and financial support by the Ethiopians. As an example, in 1961, we raised 100% more money from the Ethiopians than we did in 1958. Also, in the year 1962, we have raised as much money during the first 6 months of 1962 as we did during the whole of 1961. The membership has doubled over 1960. In adult education, thousands of people take part in our program. Additional emphasis has been made in the area of literacy training. New classes have been offered for both members and non-members alike. Adult education is a feature offered in all of the YMCAs in Ethiopia. In the area of boys' work, leadership training has certainly taken and played a key part. There are presently 26 boys' clubs in the city of Addis Ababa alone, and 3 years ago there were only 3. These are active clubs. This figure does not include the other boys' clubs around the country. The Future Citizens program has always been a very significant part of our program dealing with underprivileged boys. Today we are serving about 175 to 200 young people, both boys and girls, who are taking part in this day school program for underprivileged children. The Physical Education Department has been called on time and time again to assist in the organization of sports which include both the YMCA and the national sports activities in Ethiopia. Today, the YMCA conducts the national basketball tournaments, trains the national basketball team, runs the national ping pong, checkers, and chess tournaments, as well as the volleyball tournaments. We are most proud of the contribution we are making in the field of physical education for both the country as well as for the YMCA. Work with the handicapped has taken an important part in our program, and in this area the YMCA has begun a new area of programming, that being crafts programs for the handicapped as well as physical education. In the present handicap program, we have over 50 persons participating and taking part in this rehabilitation experience. The body of this report has been basically facts and figures, but the important thing in the YMCA is what happens to the people that come to the Y, the boys and the girls and the adults. I'd like to relate here one example of one incident that could be multiplied over and over again by the men who are abroad working for World Service and by the number of associations being served through World Service. Adomamo Werku was found on the front steps of the YMCA some 7 years ago, and Merlin Bishop invited him into the Y and gave him a scholarship membership. A couple weeks later, he was sitting at the rear of one of my freehand drawing classes. At the conclusion of the class, he came forward and said that he would like to become a part of this class, that he would like to draw. Well, we took him into the office, and he told me his story. And he told me this. He said that when he was about 5 or 6 years old, that he and his playmate were playing out in the front of their home, and in the process of their playing, why, they picked up an object and were throwing it back and forth, and it blew up. It was a discarded Italian hand grenade. It killed his playmate instantly, and it blew both of Mamo's hands and arms off just below the elbow. Well, we decided that we would teach him to draw, and in doing so, that he must come to the YMCA every Saturday morning, and we would go through the process of teaching him how to hold the charcoal between his two blunt stubs and to move it about the page until he could learn the methods of design and pattern and interpretation. He started working with his artwork. He worked hard at it. And the pictures that you see here are an example of the type of thing that has happened after about 5 years of work. These drawings are work that Mamo has done. They are portraits of people that you would readily recognize if they were in your presence. 2 years ago, Atomamo participated in the National Art Contest in Ethiopia. And he won 3rd prize. I wish each of you could have been in the presence of the ceremony where the awards were given. When His Imperial Majesty presented to Atomamo Werku his bronze medal, Mamo extended his two blunt stubs and bowed his head in proper courtesy and waited for His Majesty to present the medal. His Majesty placed the bronze medal over one of the blunt stubs. And at the conclusion of the ceremony, His Majesty called Mamo forward and said, "Mamo, I want you to have the opportunity of being fitted for artificial limbs. I want you to go to Germany and have limbs fitted so that you in turn could return and assist in teaching art to the young people in our country." Well, Mamo the next week came to the YMCA and he said, "Mr. Ludwig, I want you to help me write a letter to His Imperial Majesty. And I want you to say in this letter this, that I have a couple brothers and sisters that have never had the opportunity of going to school before. First of all, because we cannot afford financially to provide the wherewithal and pencils and paper and so forth to send them to school. Secondly, because there hasn't been room for them." Today, Mamo still draws with his two blunt stubs. And today, his two brothers and sisters are in school. This is one example of many, of a young man who has learned to share so much with so very little, learning at the YMCA. This example and story which you have heard is just one of many. This could be multiplied time and again by the many YMCAs and through the men who are working in the foreign field for world service. This certainly indicates to us, though, the opportunities and the possibilities of YMCA world service. There are thousands and hundreds of people around the world who can use the services that the YMCA can offer. We are responsible, and we are committed to do this job. And in the final analysis, it is our responsibility to go to the people of this world and to our fellows everywhere and say, "Give me your hand. We have been strangers, you and I, by more than wastes of sea and sand, each from the other walled and banned. Give me your hand. Together now beneath the stormy sky, strangers no more, but friends we stand. Give me your hand. The heaving earth, the stormy sky, alone, apart we die. Friend of the alien race, the far-off land, strangers no more, give me your hand."